Research that our neuroscientists and neuropsychologists provide us with is what drives behavior. What are emotions? What are feelings? What are the 6 core emotions that are processed at the non-conscious level that give rise to feeling? See, feeling is conscious awareness of what I'm experiencing in my body. The emotion of anger, disgust, shame, happiness, or fear is processed non-consciously. That gives what? An electrical signal that we feel. That's called feelings. And so what we're fascinated with is how are people processing information that gives rise to feelings, which then causes people to take action or not. So that's the kind of stuff I'm fascinated with. And then how can we help somebody shift their perspective? If you change the way you look at something, the feeling changes. So if you change the meaning, you change the way you look at something, the feeling changes. If the feeling changes and we help people put their foot on the gas instead of on the brake, then they're gonna take action. And most people, I mean, if everybody's watching right now, they're thinking, why am I not doing, forget about learning anything new. Why am I not doing the things I already know I should be doing? So a salesperson, you mentioned earlier, you know they should be prospecting. Why aren't they prospecting more? Like, why not? Well, it's because something in their brain has got the brake on. Why not discover why, get your foot off the brake, take action? So you may or may not know this story yet, but 10 years ago, I was 238 pounds, 33% body fat, borderline hypertensive, almost full-on diabetes, severe sleep apnea, not in good shape.
No, you're not.
So I said, listen, you've done okay in business, you've done okay with your relationship, you're happily married, great, this and that. Look at you, you're a physical mess. Yeah. And so words are really, really, really critical because there's something really important listening. And so if you're using words that you're reinforcing, if they're self-deprecating words, you're reinforcing a self-deprecating self-image, which means Frankenstein brain is going to be triggered by those words. So if you think about weight, what is it? Every pound is 3,500 calories of energy. Right? And so when you think about what do you do when you lose something? What have we been taught to do when we lose something? Try and find it.
Go find it. Go get it back.
So if weight is energy, I said to myself, what do I need to do to release this energy back into the universe, back in the form of hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, whatever it is, so that somebody else who needs it right now can use it? It served me long enough. I'm ready to release it and to change, my physique, to change how I feel, to change how I look. And my goal back then for my 50th birthday was to get into the best shape of my adult life for 50, which I did. And then my goal is to have a 6-pack at 60, which I'm already there. So I'm actually almost there. But the whole idea was the words that I use, right, are really important because they're the words that I listen to and reinforce.
When we talk about the word fear, right? So let me start off with another little premise here is most people are highly ignorant in understanding what fear is. Now, I want to make sure people heard me correctly. Ignorance doesn't mean you are stupid. Ignorance means you just don't know. We're all ignorant.
We don't know what we don't know.
Well, we don't know, and even the things that we do know may not be accurate. So when we talk about fear, there are 50 different types of fear. All fear is processed in the subconscious mind. The automatic neurochemistry that is created as a result of the meaning that we give certain things that cause us to either be in a state of fear or a state of courageousness is all being processed in our subconscious mind. So what causes fear for you doesn't cause fear for me or for somebody else, or may cause fear in other people. So whether we're standing at the top of a building that's 100 stories high, some people look over and don't have fear, and other people do have fear. Whether there's a giant 10-foot boa constrictor in front of you may cause fear in you, that doesn't cause fear in another person. So it's never the thing that is causing the fear. It's the subconscious interpretation that we've been conditioned to believe. The meaning that we learn to give something determines whether the neurochemistry of fear is activated that causes us to feel a certain way. So the feeling, okay, of being scared, the feeling of being uncertain, this feeling of having self-doubt, the feeling of having too much stress in our life, that is an effect, not a cause. So feelings are conscious, our ability to be aware of this stuff that's going on in our body that we either know or don't know how to handle or do anything with.
Yeah.
So feeling is conscious, fear is subconscious. And so if, for example, we have, one of the examples I use is, and you don't have this obviously, but if I ask 100 people, do you have a fear of public speaking?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that.
I'm reading your mind. I'm reading your mind. Well, it's not your fear. And this is what I'm going to say. So the actual fear is of being embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, or judged. So if we're afraid of being embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, or judged, that has nothing to do with the actual public speaking. It has to do with our self-image and self-esteem and what we think of ourselves and what we believe others will say or think about us, which will affect our own self-image or self-esteem.
Let's say you have something that you want to do, a project you want to finish, a book you want to write, a business you want to start, a girl you want to call or walk across the room, or a guy. You want to achieve a goal, okay? So if you imagine that when you set your goal, you're activating the left prefrontal cortex, which I like to call is the Einstein part of the brain, the part of your brain that can say, what can I imagine? Well, I can imagine myself achieving that goal. I can imagine myself making more money and living the lifestyle of my dreams. I can imagine fill in the blank. So you set the goal. So part one in the brain is setting of the goal, having that vision for what you want.